Hi students, I think you are doing well, and I think you also watched my previous videos, and I think it would give a lot of information. And today I am also going to deliver a new topic, and this topic is the transportation in plants. And this transportation in plants is a vital process on which the plant growth depends. And this transportation in plants, in some way it is similar to the circulatory system in animals, but in some extent it is also differ from the circulatory system. Here, that is the transportation is the process. So what happens in the transportation? Transportation is the process of conduction of water and solid material. Solid material means that is it may be minerals, it may be food particles. That is the solid materials into the different parts of the plant. Just like in the human body circulatory system circulate the different gases and nutrient particles to the different parts of the body, same transportation process. By the transportation process in plants, water and solid materials are circulated or transported into different parts of the plant. And this transportation system have two parts. Actually it has two parts: transport of water and minerals into leaves and stem, and also the next is the transport of food prepared in leaves into different body parts. And which tissues are involved? Mainly there are two types of tissues, that is the xylem and phloem. These two types of conducting tissues are involved. But with transportation there are many processes involved. With this transportation there are so many different processes are involved. And not only the conducting tissues are involved, there are so many tissues, so many organs are involved, and different processes. And first I will describe about those processes, like like diffusion, osmosis, absorption, translocation, transpiration, and we will discuss all about this process, so that you will get a clear idea about how transportation occurs in plants. And during the transportation, plants absorb water from the soil and distribute water, minerals, and prepared food into the different parts. Now, what are the different process? That is the diffusion, osmosis, active transport, transpiration. Then I will describe about the structure of xylem and phloem. Now come to the diffusion. What is the process of diffusion? What happens in diffusion? It is actually it is one type of physical process of movement of molecules of solid, liquid, or gases from a region of higher concentration to a lower concentration. I know you know about any solution, and any solution has two parts. That is, one is the solvent and another is the solute. Suppose in this case you see that is the solute concentration, that is concentration of molecules. Here in the concentration of molecules is very high. And when in any solution, that is mixture of two molecules are mixed here, and there are the solute concentration is very high, and the solute start to move from one area to another area, and it goes, that is when it goes from a region of high concentration, here is the solute concentration is high, but when it goes in this area, that is the solute concentration is low. That is the process occurs through the diffusion. That is, the solute concentration comes from this area to the second area, and this process is seen inside the plant body, animal body, and in environment also. And in the plant body, carbon dioxide produced in cell due to respiration, That means during the respiration there are carbon dioxide gases are produced, and that carbon dioxide gas is released out from the body through the diffusion. And suppose if we burn any incense stick, or if we use perfume in our body, then you can notice, or you can smell the smell that in the from the other rooms. That means the smell of the incense stick goes from one room to another room within the air. It is mixed with air, and it goes through the moving air, and and we can smell from the other rooms. Now is the osmosis. What is the process of osmosis? Osmosis, here it is in this figure. You notice the figure, and in this figure you can see that concentration, that is a mixture of, that is a solution, and here this is separated by a semi permeable membrane. Now what is the semi permeable membrane? Semi permeable membrane means that membrane, any membrane which can allow some specific particles through it, not all types of particles. So these two solutions are separated, sugar solution separated by semi permeable membrane, and in the left side there concentrated solution are given, and in the right hand side there is the dilute sugar solution is given. That means dilute sugar solution means more water. It is a solution of water and sugar, that is more water is present here and less water is present here. So but here is the dilute sugar means the solute concentration is low. So in a process, so is a process osmosis is a process in which the solvent means water, solvent moves from lower solute concentration to higher solute concentration. That means you can see the arrow here, solvent moves from lower solute concentration to higher solute concentration, and this process is called the osmosis. And always osmosis occurs when the two different solution is separated by a semi permeable membrane. And importance of osmosis, you can see roots absorb water from soil through this process, and cell can absorb water or loses water, excess water through osmosis, and stomata open and close due to osmotic movement of water. And certain movements like in the plant, you can see that is in the touch me not plant, the leaves droop due to the osmosis. When we touch the leaves, that is there is a thigmonesty occurs, and the leaves droop down due to the osmosis. Now here is the types of osmosis. Here I have given a figure, and in the left side you see that is the figure A, it is the endosmosis in the figure A, and there is the, in the right hand side there are the exosmosis. Now what do I mean by the endo and exo? Endo, what is the meaning of endo? Means entry. You just remember that endo means entry and exo means exit. It is related to exit, that means come out, or endo means entry, means go inside. So when you see that within a petri dish there are water, normal water, and within the water some resins are kept within the water, and after 1 hour you can see that the resins get swollen. Resins will be swollen because water enters into the resins. So why do water enters? Because the concentration of water is less outside, and concentration of the solution inside the resins is more than the outside. So the water enters from outside to inside the cell or a system. That is called the endosmosis. That means water enters from outside to inside, that is from lower solute concentration to higher solute concentration. And here the pills of the resins act as a semi-permeable membrane. And When some grapes, suppose there are some grapes and we have taken a salt solution and the grapes are put within the salt solution, you will notice that after few hours the water will come out. That means the solution within the grapes will come out from inside to outside. That means outside solution solute concentration is more, inside solute concentration is lower, so that the solvent from inside come to the outside, and so the grapes will be shrunken. That means the grapes will be small in size. That means the solvent comes out. So this process is called the exosmosis. Now, types of osmotic solution. So osmosis occurs when two solution. When osmosis happens, when that means osmosis happens when the two solutions are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, and the solvent, that means water, flows into or out of a cell depending on the concentration of solute, such as salt or sugar. That means concentration of salt solution or concentration of sugar, it depends. Osmosis occurs, that means it will be end osmosis or osmosis. It depends on the concentration of the solute. Here you can see in the figure, that is first one is you will see there are three types of osmotic solutions. First one is the isotonic solution. That means here these are so many RBCs. RBC means red blood cells are given, and that RBCs are taken in such a solution so that the concentration of the solute in RBC and outside the RBC are the same. That means an isotonic solution has the same concentration of solute both inside and outside of the cell, and so that there will be no net movement of water from inside to outside, not from outside to inside. That means no net movement, water will go inside and water will go outside also, but there will be no change in the structure of the cell, that because of the same concentration of solution. But hypotonic, when it is called hypotonic solution, suppose there is a third figure, you can see that RBC solution, RBCs are kept in such a solution, that is the higher concentration. Hypotonic means higher concentration of solute inside the RBC and lower concentration of solute outside the RBC. That means the solute concentration of outside the RBCs are less, so that water always enter from outside to inside the RBC. That means water will enter inside the RBCs, and after that, after sometimes the RBCs or the cells or the system will be swollen, will be larger in size. That is it is the type of hypotonic solution. Now is the hypertonic. Hypertonic means there is a lower concentration of solute inside the cell. That means within the cell there will be lower concentration of solute, and outside the cell, if the concentration of solute outside the cell is higher, then from the solvent will come out from the cell. That means you can see that water is released from the cell, and after sometimes the cells or the system will be shrunken or small in size. That is so that it is called a hypertonic solution. Now I'll describe about the active transport. This is the another process, and this is a new words. This term is a new term for you. So what is the active transport and passive transport? In the body, in any multicellular animal or multicellular organism, suppose any multicellular organism, there are so many cells. Multicellular means many cells. There are so many cells, and these cells are surrounded by a membrane. And any multicellular cell or any unicellular cells also, this is surrounded by a membrane that is called the plasma membrane or cell membrane. And this plasma membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. Because why it is called semi-permeable membrane? Because it can allow some specific molecules to enter or exit the cell, so that it is semi-permeable in nature. And through this membrane, transport of molecules occurs with the help of energy or without energy. That means transportation of molecules occurs, that means sometimes it needs some energy, or sometimes transportation occurs without any help of energy, So plasma membrane has small pores in it, and through which the molecules can pass. Now, what is the active transport and what is the passive transport? When molecules move into the cell from a lower concentration to higher concentration, that means against the concentration gradient with the help of energy. That means movement of molecules across the plasma membrane or a semi-permeable membrane from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration with the help of energy, that is called a active transport. That means it needs a lot of energy and it is rapid process. And it needs the energy as ATP. I have given the ATP, and you will know ATP means adenosine triphosphate, and you will know in detail in the higher classes about ATP. And passive transport, what do you mean by the passive transport? The molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration move. That means molecules move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration across the plasma membrane, and without the expenditure of energy, without the help of any energy. That means in case of passive transport, no need of energy. There is no energy is required. That is called the passive transport, and it is very slow process. And also the types of passive transport like osmosis, diffusion, facilitated diffusion, these are all types of passive transport. Now come to the transpiration. What do you mean by the transpiration? Plants absorb a lot of water from soil through root hairs, and some amount of this is used in its metabolic function. Most of the water is evaporated into air through the aerial parts like leaves, stem, and it occurs under some factors. So the loss of excess water from the aerial parts, that is the transpiration. And water is generally lost by evaporation from the surface of leaves. And transpiration depends on some factors. It depends on some factors like the atmospheric temperature, pressure, and at relative humidity in atmosphere, and the pattern of leaves, because it is transpiration mainly occurs in the through the leaves. So it depends on the patterns of leaves and wind velocity also. So in the figure you can see that root hairs and roots absorb a large amount of water, and that water carries into the different parts of the plant, and through the leaves the plant releases the excess water by the process of evaporation. And there are three types of transpiration. You can see that one is the stomatal transpiration. That means when the transpiration occurs through the stomata, and almost 95% of water vapor is lost through stomata. And cuticular transpiration means cuticle is a layer of wax layer covering the epidermis of leaves and herbaceous stem. And this is the cuticular transpiration. And through the cuticular transpiration, almost 4 to 5% of water is lost. And lenticular transpiration means lenticels are the areas on barks. These are the areas on barks which are filled with loosely arranged complementary cells, and there is very small amount of water, that is almost 0.1% of water is lost as water vapor through this process. Now here are the importance of transpiration. That is, the loss of water through transpiration creates an upward movement of water absorbed by roots, and it helps in transportation of minerals which are absorbed by the roots from soil with water, creating a transpiration pool. And it helps in the temperature regulation or cooling in plants. That means during the photosynthesis there is a lot of energy is absorbed during the photosynthesis, and so that the plant body becomes hot, and it gets some heat from sunlight, and so that heat or that energy, that temperature should be released, and through the transpiration the temperature regulation occurs, or cooling effect, it gives a cooling effect. And excessive transpiration can be injurious to health. When water loss exceeds the water intake, it can retard the plant's growth and may lead to death by dehydration. And transpiration is also called a necessary evil. Necessary evil means it is how much it is very necessary or very essential for the plant growth, as well as it is very harmful in some cases. Sometimes it is very harmful also, because transpiration is meant for exchange of gases through stomata. That means that gases like carbon dioxide, oxygen, and the carbon dioxide enters within the cell or leaves, and also oxygen is released. So this process is very helpful for their body. This process is very essential for their body, but it helps, and also it helps in the pooling of water from the root to the tip of the plant. That means due to carbon dioxide, due to transpiration a suction pump is created, and so that the water is absorbed through the roots and root hairs. But sometimes excess amount of water is also lost, that lead to the water shortage. That means when the excess amount of water is lost, uh, and it leads to water shortage, and sometimes it leads to wilting and serious desiccation and dehydration. So thank you. I think you understand and understand my videos, and you will get a lot of information. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up, and subscribe my channel by pressing the bell icon. So thank you so much.